move it to a broader scope and ask you, well, I got three basic questions here, Matt. What would you change about USC football? What would you change about Pac-12 football? What would you change about college football nationally?
With USC football, in all honesty, I would try to work more towards home and home series. I know next year USC plays Alabama in Arlington, and again, I know everybody has their opinions on that. I do as well, but I feel like with USC, them not scheduling enough impact home and home games like they used to in the past, with like they did with Nebraska and Ohio State and Auburn. I feel like the last one we had was Texas, and I think USC should try to aim more for that, for a home and home with Alabama, or maybe a home and home with Oklahoma, or a home and home with, I don't know, maybe a Boise State or somebody, stuff like that. I think is something that we would love to see. As far as on the field wise, I think USC made those changes with coaching, in terms of redoing the coaching staff. So I think USC pretty much handled that already. Um, in the Pac-12, and this is just my opinion, I do away with the Friday night games. I understand everyone, they want to have it to where the Pac-12 gets more exposure, but I feel like with the Friday night games, it also hurts the fan experience to an extent, because you have classes that's still going on, and mind you, not every university canceled classes for football games, but I think you have classes going on, and especially in USC's cases, where most of the tailgating is done on campus, you kind of constrict, tailgating on top of everybody got to get off of work at a certain time. Plus, the games are being shown at about 7:30 at night, and in the East, everybody in the East is probably getting ready to go to bed at about that time. So those are games those are games that I would do away with. Those are changes that I would do with the Pac-12. Oh, and making the Pac-12 network more accessible for everybody. Um, and college football as a whole, I know this is something that everybody's talked about, but I would expand the playoffs to 8. Expand it to 8. I would love to see an 8-team playoff and see how that works out. Though I think we're a ways away from that. I would love to see what an 8-team playoff would do with for college football, and how they would handle that. So if you had a team like a UCF who was in there, I would love to see how they would handle, or how they would match up in the playoffs against teams like Clemson or Ohio State. Different teams like that. I would love to see what they would do, what they could do in games like that.
Matt, you were right on mark with me on the 18 playoff, and I won't go into my argument for it because I've explained it about 52 times on different videos, so they're certainly accessible and out there. But I have outlined an 18 playoff and how it should work. It makes total sense over what we currently do, which is just a selection process. It's not an objective format tournament playoff that you have at other levels of other sports, but you've got a committee selecting teams, and I'm not for that. All right, Matt, I appreciate you stopping by. You got to join Matt Lowry and the rest of the crew there at Conquest Chronicles on SB Nation to get yourself set on USC football and what's in store for 2019. Matt, it's always a good discussion. Appreciate you stopping by.
Oh, thank you for having me.